Yeah, I'm finally back down to earth. Obviously, our last catch up, I was a bit down in the dumps and that, but everything's sorted now and things are good. The big carp buzz is back and I'm enjoying it. Thanks, mate. Well, I've won a few Carp Angler of the Year awards in the past, Carp Talk and stuff, and you normally have to send your captures to the magazine to then be nominated. But this one, I got nominated, hadn't sent a picture, and it was like out of the blue. So humbled to be nominated, and thanks to everyone that's voted for me. I didn't share it myself, didn't publicly put it out there to get votes online, purely because I didn't think I deserved Carp Angler of the Year. I thought Catch of the Year maybe, but to me, Carp Angler of the Year is consistency all year. Although I didn't just catch the Burghfield Common, I caught all the fish from Nazing before, all the fish leading up to the Burghfield Common, the fish I've caught from this water, which no one knows about yet. But there's like Tom Maker, Marcus Clark, they've been consistent and they've caught a lot of fish, and I don't know, maybe one of them should have got it, but the Burghfield Common holds a lot of prestige, and it's just that one fish, no matter who catches it, I don't think nothing comes close to it these days. So I feel a bit gutted for them because they've done really well, and I've not caught half as many fish as they have, especially Tom, but it's the people's vote at the end of the day. I didn't push for votes, and yeah, thanks to everyone that's voted. It's an honour. I had to do a bit of filming and stuff after Burghfield, so I joined the local club waters nearby. So I was near Burghfield, I'd go back to there and do other stuff on there, but I weren't planning on fishing there at all. I think I'd done one session after I caught the common, and it was purely to go and film my Ellis diary. And I did dabble on the Reading Club lakes around that area, couldn't really get a feeling for it, couldn't get the buzz, and then this water pops up on my radar. People say, where'd you go from after Burghfield? And I caught the Burghfield Common, £60 common. Where do I go now? I want a £60 mirror, and that's what brought me to this place. It's a big water, 55 acres. It's a club lake down south. I'm not sure about the stock. I overheard someone saying there was about 80 carp in here. There might be more, I'm not sure. But there's a good head of big fish. I think there's probably 8 to 10 over £50. One of them at the minute, it's quite a rare one. Ain't been out for a year and a half, and that goes where it should be 62-ish maybe, a bit more. So it likes a winter bite, likes a spring bite, and obviously with lockdown, the spring on here wasn't fished, so it didn't do the spring bite, and I'm hoping this winter I'll get the bite from the one I want. Yes, with me, a lot of people go for looks or scaly ones. With me, I like big carp, whether they're simmos or not, and it's the big carp that give me that drive and that buzz, and I want a £60 mirror now. as anyone would probably, they want a PB, so I've come on here. I'm only planning on doing the winter here. It's going to be too busy in the spring and summer. I'm going to go somewhere else, but I'll come back the following winter if I don't catch it this winter. But yeah, this has got my drive to travel. It's 137 miles from my house. It takes 3 hours on a Friday, and you've got to have something worth catching to do that sort of mileage and the hours on the road, and this has got it. Yes, it's been in the magazines, it's been well documented. A lot of people do name it. Most people know where I'm fishing, but out of respect to the others, it's a club water. You can basically get straight on, and if I start naming it, putting it on YouTube, saying where it is, and if I do have a good winter and I catch a few good ones, my following winter will be ruined, and a lot of the members won't like me because I've let the cat out of the bag. Although the cat's out of the bag, just out of respect, I'm not going to name it. But no doubt someone on this video will pop up and name it like they do on my videos. Yeah, it's got everything I want. It's got a lot of angling pressure, not so much now, but when I first started in mid-October, there's a lot of people here, so you've got to be a bit covert, a bit like Burghfield. If you catch one, you've got to sort of keep it quiet so you can get something going. So it's got all that, and yeah, it's got the stock to bring me here. It's been going all right. I've had one 38 pounder. Yeah, I don't really want to say too much at the minute. There'll be another interview after this one. I can reveal more, but I'm hoping I'll have a good winter. I'm trying to do my own thing, stay out of the way, not really get involved with socials and that, and just do my own thing. definitely the angling pressure and the lines around you. That's the biggest problem, and I'm hoping when it gets colder, the frosts and that, a lot of people will drop off and I'll have pretty much the lake to myself. But I've picked an area that's out of the way, don't get fished much, for that reason, where I can always get back in the swim. But there's angling pressure around me now, and that's the biggest challenge. Obviously with Burghfield, you've got an out of bounds area, which is big, but there's people fishing it, it's a separate ticket, so they're baiting it. It's out of bounds to us, but the fish are going there, they're safe, they're getting fed. This lake, it's got an out of bounds, but no one fishes it. It ain't a big out of bounds. And to be honest, I've said it before, like if I come here before Burghfield, it would be hard. Like it's big, you know what I mean, a lot of pressure. But coming from Burghfield to here, it's easy. I might not catch another fish all winter, but it's easy because you can see most of the lake from each swim. Everything's accessible, apart from one area that's out of bounds. They're not going to crawl up your lines, but you're there, you can get to them. Whereas Burghfield, you're a mile away sometimes. Yeah, my approach is the same as Burghfield, Ronnie rigs, same baiting strategy, sell, a few tiger nuts, but I tend to, on waters like this, I tend to go for areas of the lake that ain't pressured. Like I can't turn up on a Friday and get in the most popular swim. I never have done on any of the waters, so I try to go for a less popular area, keep the bait going in. One thing to my advantage, I'll get bait, main line, and I can put a lot of boilie in, whereas a lot of people, if they're pre-baiting and stuff, they're putting a lot of particle in. And if you can put a lot of boilie in, you've got that edge, and that's what's done me well over the years. So being in that position helps me out. Yeah, back to weekends. Sometimes I'll turn up on a Thursday night, mainly on a Friday, about 10:30. It's a long old drive. But I'll be carrying on all through the winter, 2, maybe 3 nights. Over Christmas, when we've got time off work, I'll be doing, you can do 5 nights on here in one hit, and then you've got to be off for 2. So I'm hoping to get a 5-nighter in at some point, over Christmas, like I always do. But yeah. Well, I was a bit down in the dumps after Burghfield, and after fishing the club waters in Reading, it was right next to Burghfield. I needed to escape from Reading, basically. That's why I joined this place, further down south. And I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't catch nothing after Burghfield Common until I came here in October. I was seeing my girlfriend more often. And when I was fishing, I didn't want to go. I was forcing myself to go. I didn't want to, there was no drive. I needed that drive. I always need a drive to get out and go. And this place has got it, whereas the lakes I was fishing in Reading, I just couldn't. There's decent fish there, but they weren't doing it for me. I thought, I'll probably have the rest of the year off, you know what I mean? I've caught the Burghfield coming up and chill out. But then when this water came up with this fish, I'll tell you what, I went to the New Forest where this is with my girlfriend for a week, and I joined the water when I was down there. And I've gone to a pub and that, went had a quick look at the lake, and then I drove home on the Friday. It took us 4.5 hours to get home back to Essex. Dropped her off, dropped the dog home, got all my fishing gear, come back on that Friday night. It took 3 hours to get back here, and I camped out. It was rammed, like I camped out in a bay. It was quite cold. It's a shallow bay, and I just camped out, but I just wanted to be here. And I've lost myself.
The buzz is back.
Yeah, the buzz is back, and yeah, long may it continue. It pretty much stays the same all year round. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Even the baiting, that pretty much stays the same. A lot of my angling, being weekends, is I pre-bait. Being this far from home, I can't pre-bait during the week, so I put a lot in when I leave, stuff like that. But yeah, it's the same everywhere I go now. I don't find my tackle down, don't use smaller baits or whatever, it's all the same. Normally I'll fish, even in the winter, I'll fish over 5 key over a weekend, and then I'll put 5 kilo out when I leave. If I'm getting bites, I'll bring a 10 kilo bag of cell. If I'm getting bites, I'll bring 20 key. Yeah, so I'll probably use 5 to 10 when I'm fishing, then I'll put 10 in when I leave. But if I'm not getting the bites and I'm just baiting, maybe I won't even use 5 key when I'm actually fishing, but when I leave, because I leave too far away, that's when I put it all in one hit. Ideally, I'd like to do it over the week, like a couple of times, little and often, but I can't. but it normally pays off, one big hit, until the tufties find you. Winter time, the tufties find you, and it's hard work like they are now.
There's a lot of birds on here, isn't there?
There's a lot, yeah.
So along with
Hundreds.
the angling pressure, you've also got the ag of the bird.
Yeah, you've got the bird life, and when you're baiting, the water clears up. As soon as they find your baited spot, I'm putting bait out on a Sunday when I leave, and I'm driving home, and I know they're on it, and it's like, am I wasting my time? But I still carry on, and it does pay off in the end. I have two spots normally. I'll have, well, some lakes I'll have one spot, 3 rods on it, massive area. This lake I've got one spot with 2 rods, quite a big area. Then I've got another spot on its own, which don't get as much. But with the 2 rods, you're fishing 2 hook baits on that same spot. So you could put 5 key out, you've got 2 rigs there. When I'm fishing 3 rods on a spot, 5 keys, nothing over 3 rigs, even in the winter, for me personally. Yeah, I joined this lake for the autumn and the winter because the fish I want, it does do bites January time. So I'm trying to set it up, set my stall out. Like mid-October is a good time to start baiting for the winter ahead. So I'll get the spots going and hopefully keep them topped up, get bites consistently if I'm lucky, and then it all flows through the winter. If I started in December trying to get a spot going, chances are it won't work. I'll just be putting bait in, it won't be getting eaten. But if you can draw them carp in October time and keep it going in, that sets you up for a good winter. Well, when I first started, I couldn't get in any of the main spots. I purposely chose an area which doesn't get fished much to do my thing until I could move into an area that's popular when the angling pressure starts dropping off. But I've spent so much time, put a lot of bait in this area now. The popular swims are becoming free when I get here, and I'm not going in them, and it's a bit suspicious to the other anglers. You know what I mean? I'm going in one of the worst swims with no pressure in it all year, and I'm sitting there all weekend when the top swims are free. So I think I've just got to stick it out now. I've spent a lot of time and effort in this one area. I'm just going to carry on. Deeper water. There's a lot of shallow ground on this lake, and for the autumn and winter, I prefer, well, definitely, I'll always find an area that's deeper than the rest of the lake and bait that, because that's where I'll do well over the winters, in the deeper areas of the lake. And this has got it, this corner, less pressure, deeper, and it's perfect for my style of angling. On smaller waters, I normally do crush my cell. Don't normally use tiger nuts as much, but it's something I've started doing, mainly because the seagulls. Like, you're spawning out and there's so many seagulls on here, as well as the bird life. And the boilies, I use 15mm boilies. They drop, they're heavier than the tiger nuts. So when the seagulls come down, they're taking the tigers before the boilies. So although I'm spotting out tigers in the winter, not many are getting to the bottom, but the boilies are. So that's my theory in that. And yeah, the reason I'm not really using crushed baits on this water, it's a 55-acre pit, fairly open. Well, pretty much all of it's open, and you get some big winds. And when you're fishing in deeper areas of the lake, crushed boilie in wind ain't getting to the bottom. I need whole boilies for the weight to get to the bottom. That's the main reason. If it was a smaller lake, you've got a bit of coverage, not as much wind, I would use crushed in the winter. It's deadly, but on here it's not possible. I never make my own hook baits, and I love plastic hook baits now from obviously North Met Pit, Nazin, Burghfield, and especially in the winter you've got the tufties pick you up all the time, and with a rubber hook bait that's never coming off, whereas a real pop-up will. But on this place, I joined it, it's renowned for long range casting and stuff, and I thought if I'm going to go long, I can't afford to crack off with a artificial rubber hook bait. It's live all the time, so I'm using diamond white pop-ups from Mainline. They're by far my favourite. If I'm using plastics, it's always white over cell, and diamond white, they're white obviously. And I'm using real baits on here, pop-ups, because of that reason. Although I'm not going long range, there's no crayfish, and it's a nice change to actually use a real pop-up for once. So I've converted back to real pop-ups. But I do massively rate plastics, especially in the winter. But Not this winter. Yeah, 2 nights, sometimes 3 if I get down on a Thursday night. But yeah, it's mainly 2 nights and I'll be here all winter, all weather, freezing, snow, nothing stops me. If I've got that carp on my mind, which I have, the 60 pounder, I'll come out in all conditions, regardless, up until the spring. That one fish. If I was coming here just to catch fish, or going into any other lake just to catch carp, that don't mean anything to me. Obviously they mean a lot, big fish and that, or whatever, catching fish in the winter, I'm happy catching 20s. But if there ain't that drive to catch one certain carp, I haven't got the energy and the passion to go, whereas I've got that one track mind for that one fish, and that's what keeps me coming. If it come out today, I wouldn't be as consistent over the winter. I probably wouldn't even come, to be fair. I've got that on my mind. That's what brings me here. There's plenty of other fish in here, much better looking, much better shape. It's purely for the weight. It's purely for 60 pound mirror. Like that's what brings me here. I'd love to catch a few of the others. Like there's some mega carp in here, 50 pounders as well, that are much better than that 60. But I've come here for that weight. After Burghfield, 60 pound common, I want a 60 pound mirror. But I'm hoping I'll catch a few of the others before I catch that, because they're much better. Not going to lie. This one's, it's like the brute from Pingewood. It's the same sort of shape and it's got a big single scale. That capture, basically I was fishing up in a bay and the lake was busy and I was camping basically. I knew I was shallow water, it was cold, and I thought I'll have a walk down the bank, see all these swims down here with no grass, no worn out, it was all grass. So I thought these don't get fished much. I had a little lead about, noticed it was a lot deeper than what I've been fishing up the other end, and I thought this is ideal. So I've set up for that was on the Saturday, I've set up, done a night in there, and I've seen a fish show to me right, and I thought, mate, if a fish show's in October, there's a good chance there'll be a few about there for the winter. So I didn't catch nothing that night. I put 10 key of cell out the Sunday before I left. It took me about 2 hours to put out with a spom. Gone home, come back the following week, got back in the same swim, and I've caught a carp from that area, and I thought this is it. Like, it was good observation. Obviously it was gut instinct at first, then a fish showed in the swim, which made my mind up. That told me the gut instinct was right, and then the following week it happened. So it was a bit of guesswork followed by good angling, I suppose, so to speak. The effort, pre-baiting and stuff, you know what I mean?
Can you tell us a bit about the fight and the actual fish itself?
One thing about this place, the fish look a lot bigger than what they actually are. Like the fight, it weren't too savage, like just a normal plodding and that, big fish battle. And I've got it to the net, and I've looked in the net when it's in there, and I was like, that's a 40, that's a good 40, 44 maybe. Massive wide thing, proper, massive fins. Got it on the bank, I was like, that's huge. Weighed it, 38 and a half, and then I thought, that ain't right. Weighed it again, 38 and a half, and I was like, nah. And then, yeah, it was. But I dread to think what that 60 pounder looks like on the bank, or in the net. It's gonna be scary. The spinner rig, that all started with North Met Pit and the crayfish. I use a stiff boom. Obviously with a spinner rig, like the crayfish can mess about with it, even the birds like pick it up, and it's always resetting itself. And I've used that for the last couple of years, even on Burghfield, and I've done well. And I've just carried it on, and it works everywhere I go. It's just that confidence thing. It's like my bait. I've got 100% confidence in cell. If I put a cell out, there's fish showing, I don't catch them, I never doubt the bait. And it's the same with this Ronnie spinner rig. I never doubt the rig. It's caught me the Burghfield Common. It'll catch me any carp. I've got the confidence in it. You know what I mean? The Burghfield Common, dubbed as one of the hardest fish to catch in the country. Never get caught on a Ronnie rig. It's noddy. You know what I mean? But I did. And if I can catch that fish, I'm sure I can catch anything that swims in here. So it's all about confidence. If you've got the confidence, you can become deadly. Like, you don't question anything that you're doing. It's either, if they're showing you're not catching, they're in the upper layers, maybe a zig. It's never me rig or me bait. I feel confident in catching it, to be fair. Although I've just started, it don't get caught from, it ain't been out for a year and a half, and the main swims, the long range ones, all the big fish, all the big known ones have been caught, but not this one. So I'm thinking, me doing my thing, out of the way, it could slip up, and I'm quietly confident that January time it's going to come true. Same as Burghfield, I was confident all year on that, and it come true. Although I was confident on Burghfield, it's still the impossible. Like, but I was confident that I was going to catch it, and I did in the end. I didn't believe it really, but it's a mad one, and yeah. With the long range stuff, it's all the popular swims, and you're queuing up to get in there, buckets behind. And with my style of fishing, I like to bait and try and get an area going. And with them long range swims, I could never get back in there week after week like I am now. So they don't really, although I've got some long range gear, like the Avid amplifier rods, got some new braid and stuff, I can learn, like, I've never had to do 180 to 200 yards, but I could learn it and join the rat race, but I don't think I want to. I want to do my own thing, and the big one, it would have come out by now from them swims. There's a reason why it's not been out, and this is my thinking behind it. Maybe me doing this out of the way, short range, it's going to pay off. Well, got myself a girlfriend, yeah, amazing mates that was in the winter, January that was, yeah, so I've met my girlfriend, 2020, I'm still with her now, it's nearly Christmas, and then I caught the Burghfield Common obviously, 2020, it was a year of the commons, I caught some really good commons, a saddleback common from Burghfield, that was a good moment, the classic carp, which is an old leanie, 1954 that was stocked, or 1952, the last of the leanies in there, that was a good moment. And that moment, I just knew I was onto the common. It's like his best mate. And yeah, amazing meets. That really set me up. That winter on there, I joined for a fish called 1611. Managed that. That was December last year. 1st of December, that was 46.12. That was on my second session. But I've carried on, and I had a fish, a common 38.5, and it was like a really nice one. And I thought, oh mate, like it's the year of the commons. And then obviously I had a £40 common in the spring after lockdown. Well, June I think it was, out of Burghfield, and it was like, I thought it was called the baby Burghfield, it wasn't, and I thought, yes mate, the big Burghfield. Obviously the saddleback common, it was just, yeah, it's been a year of commons. Now I'm trying to get my mirror. Oh yeah, well I think in the new year, they're letting us out for Christmas and that, so we're going to start 2021 with another lockdown. No doubt the lakes will be shut in the spring again, and it's going to be another repeat of this, but if I can repeat this year, fishing wise, then so be it. I've had the best year ever, and obviously I've got myself a girlfriend. So yeah, 2020, it's been emotional.